What's up, guys? This is K-Lo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but we are back for a spooky edition of the cutting board. And today I'm joined by Aden, my fellow ghost hunter. Where is he? He's gonna jump scare.
Boo.
Whoa. I wasn't ready. I don't like jump scares in games. That's well documented. But why don't you say what's up?
Hello. Or
So
spooky season, people.
Yeah, it's that time of year. It's spooky season, and what better way to kind of kick things off here than talk about horror games? Because I love them. I love them, but I hate them at the same time. It's a very bad relationship. I want to get your thoughts on horror games in general. You like them? You hate them? What is your preference here?
I mean, I absolutely love them. I love psychological horror games specifically, but I also am the person who grew up with my mom watching like Stephen King movies and everything, while other people were like, "Oh my God, I'm terrified of the clown in It." I was like, "That's pretty cool."
Yeah.
And then like I've read multiple Stephen King books and everything when I was young, so
Oh,
I'm good.
I remember watching it for the first time as like a kid. And also, I'm a kid. I was terrified of Michael Jackson's Thriller, the video. So it tells you all about where I lie. But now I love that stuff. Now I'm good. Now I'm big and brave and all that fun stuff.
Please,
But
you're still having nightmares of Michael Jackson.
that's a whole other hot topic. But today I want to talk about horror games because there are different flavors within the gaming world that do exist. We're talking about AAA games, we're talking about indie games. And I think there's a problem in that dynamic here where, at least in my opinion, indie developers are making way better horror games than actual AAA publishers. Is that a stretch of a statement, or is this somewhat true?
I mean, I don't know about better, but I would definitely say that they're making better strides in them in terms of like
Hmm.
they're more likely to push the boundaries and they're also more likely to make them more terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like in terms of like quality, I mean, you still have AAA studios that are doing good. I mean, like Capcom making like Resident Evil games, those are always good.
Yeah.
Unless you're Resident Evil 5 and you're Chris punching boulders. But
Give and take. Give and take. I also think, and this goes without saying, like, for indie games specifically, you got a game like Phasmophobia, which we've been streaming on the Game Sandwich YouTube channel. Go check that out.
yes,
And the
yes, and
Twitch
you've been
channel.
afraid to kill people in it.
Oh, there was a lot going on. I was under pressure. But like Phasmophobia is a prime example of a game that is not like beautiful to look at. It's pretty basic. And yeah, then you got the Resident Evil remakes of such that look amazing and all that fun stuff. And then there's like the 50 other Phasmophobia ghost hunting clones that do exist on Steam and all your other marketplaces. That's why indie development for these horror games are a little weird. But like, I'm gonna pull up my Steam wish list right now, and I'd say more often than not, you got the few like regular games, and then most of them are horror indie games like Forewarned, which is a Phasmophobia clone where you're like hunting in like Egyptian tombs. It's crazy. We got Boo Man, Demonologist. A game I'm very interested in, and I might be streaming it one of these days, is Zoocosis. It's like you take care of animals in a zoo, but like they suddenly mutate into these really weird creatures. It's like those concepts, like you said. Horror games in indie
Yeah.
world are taking those strides and trying something different. Where I feel AAA ones are doing the same Resident Evil thing chases you for the whole game, and yeah, or it's like cat and mouse, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Resident Evil's been doing the whole like cat and mouse thing since like
That's their bread and
Resident
butter.
literally. That's like they're probably like the first ones to do it. It
Yeah.
feels like, but but really, I mean, Capcom for Resident Evil has not changed the formula except to make it go first person. That's like really the only thing they did, and the creepiest thing in every single Resident Evil game, to me at least, is just the big baby thing that they did in Resident Evil 8. Like
Yes.
the big fetus thing. Like that one was the creepiest part of all of them. But I mean, even that one wasn't really that terrifying to me. But then you have games like And you know what? As much as I hate the series now, because like I'm just tired of it and it's oversaturated, but like Five Nights at Freddy's, when you think of games like that, yeah, those ones aren't afraid to push boundaries that like AAA studios won't do. Like, name one AAA studio that would be okay with making a game where you're literally just sitting in a room and then just watching security monitors.
Yeah,
No studio would touch that. And then Scott
not at all.
Cawthon, like, just randomly created this. Was just like, hey, let's try it, and then it became one of the biggest horror sensations ever.
It's up there. Like it has a movie. It has a whole bunch of lore out there. That whole world. It's
Or if you're
scary.
like YouTubers, the lore.
What is it, Matt Pad? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's not a theory or what. I'm prob. I'm sorry. I'm butchering that whole thing, but you get what I'm saying. Like there are things there that take off and become their own little thing, big thing in this case. I look at all of the AAA horror games. I'm pulling from a very select pool, I must admit. I'm looking at Friday the 13th and I'm looking at Chainsaw Massacre. Those two games recently released, or recently I'm using
I
that for
mean, I wouldn't
Texas
even call this
Chainsaw.
AAA. I'd call them maybe AA. But
Really? Really?
yeah, I don't consider those AAA. But
I only put them up there. I guess that's because they're using well-known IP, where it's like that's the game that represents that brand. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm
and I mean
generalizing
they
more or
are
less.
meant. They are. They aren't indie games, that's for sure. But they definitely aren't like AAA because they aren't like
Double A.
high, massive budget games. But they're good though.
So we do have all of these games that do exist that are cat and mouse with like these well-known Leatherface, all that fun stuff. It's like, all right, would I want that game or give me Leatherface in like an open world survival game or something different? I don't know what formula. I can't make a game on the spot.
Yeah,
But I'm saying you have the IP, you have a big budget, you can do more than a cat and mouse game.
yeah. I mean, like Dead by Daylight was probably the most successful with it. They started the whole asymmetric horror genre basically, and with that, you've seen so many games spawn as like a clone of that, where like you mentioned Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's that one, and then like you have multiple others where it's just like, oh yeah, team fight each other or something, or one on one side, group on the other, or even Predator Hunting Grounds. That one using a massive IP too. But that's AAA studios for you or AA studios for you a lot, like where you have the big companies and then they go, oh, we're just going to mimic what was already popular. It's just like we just saw that with Sony when it came to Firewalk Studios and Concord.
Yep.
They just mimicked what was popular, and then oh, it didn't sell well. I wonder why. But like they aren't afraid. Like they're afraid to do something that's like, oh, let's break the mold and go this way and just try something new because they don't want it to flop and
Mm-hmm.
then lose thousands of dollars or millions of dollars or whatever. When an indie studio, they have like nothing to lose.
Yeah, they did.
They're like, oh, we're just gonna make this for fun, and then we think this will be good, and then oh, it just happens to sell millions of copies. Or
Yep.
like we saw that with Power World. They were a small ass studio, then suddenly, bam, skyrocketed all the way up to the top.
I was gonna say I
There we
plugged the
go. You're back.
video. I plugged the video, but you might want to go check out that video, Pal World versus Nintendo. We did a whole video talking about that. So just imagine being that guy in the meeting that pitched Pokemon with guns. There's a lot on your head right now. But I now kind of want to shift gears a little bit and ask you about a game called Fortnite. It recently is starting its Fort Nightmares thing, a little event where you do get Leatherface, you get Jigsaw, you get all these horror icons appearing in the game. Do you think that is a viable thing for horror games moving forward? Because you can play horror games within Fortnite. Everyone knows about Unreal Engine 5, their Fortnite creator thing. Do you think there's something there in Fortnite that could I'm not saying stem a whole new genre of like horror games, but help the industry progress forward.
See, yes and no. I do feel like so the whole Fortnite thing is interesting. I mean, I have seen some people play it. Like, I'm not extremely well versed in it, but I could see people using that, like using Fortnite and the creator as a means of getting inspiration, not a means of creating an entirely new genre or a means of creating an entirely new game that people absolutely love. But I feel like it could be a good means of getting inspiration where somebody takes like, oh, I saw this thing on Fortnitemares with a Fortnite creator, and then go, oh, now I'm going to make this entirely new game based off of that because I think it looks really good. And then you'll end up ultimately getting like something completely new.
So I guess now the question I have for horror games in general, I mean the whole thing is to scare you. Do you think hedging your bets on VR, because VR is a good means to get you within the game, and I would argue being in a game like Phasmophobia with the VR headset on, like you're in it, that is a lot more scary than sitting here and playing it on my desktop. Do you think VR is a viable means for the industry there?
Yes.
Just
All day, every day, they need more VR when it comes to horror. I'm not gonna joke about that. Like, I absolutely love horror VR because, like, so one of my favorite things that's ever happened in for horror is VR in general. Like, I played Resident Evil 7 entirely in VR.
whoa.
Absolutely loved it. It scared the living hell out of me, and I thought it was great. Especially the boss fight with Marguerite, where you're going up the stairs and all of a sudden she bursts through the window. But in VR, that takes you by surprise so much.
And
But
when they nail haptics too for that, oh my gosh.
oh yeah, I mean, especially if like, yeah, like haptics. You said like if they you do the whole vest, like if once
Oh,
those become fully available, oh man, you can count me in every day for that. That would
no.
be amazing.
100% no.
But
Huh? Oh. Like
oh, I
they
will
have
love
that
that so much.
technology. They have that technology where I think I've
Yeah.
seen it's a vest where it's like you can feel the bullets.
Yeah, it like gives you like little shocks to like emulate or like air
Ooh.
pressure to like emulate like getting shot and
Ooh.
everything.
Oh,
Oh, I want that so bad. But it's
no
like
thank
it's
you.
not like super commercially available yet.
Yeah.
Once it becomes like a lot more commercially available, then like, oh, you can count me in every day for that. Like one of my favorite horror games in VR, and I wasn't even the one in the headset, but my brother-in-law, he was the one in the headset where he was doing the headset. I was like controlling him with the controller, and we played a game called Here They Lie.
Okay.
That game, absolutely amazing in VR. Like, highly recommend it. There is a part in the demo that I will always remember because he was walking through like this subway area or whatever, like this big tunnel, and he couldn't figure out where to go. And then he saw a door open, and he went, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna walk." Like, we walked through the door, and then he was like, "Okay, I'm in this small room." He just went, there's somebody who's going to be behind me, isn't there? And then he turned around, looked, and was like, "Oh, okay, there's nobody there," and just closed the door, and then turned around again. As soon as he did,
Oh
boom,
no.
somebody right there, and he
Oh no.
he got so scared he flew backwards, like across the room, like
Oh.
across the entirety of the room. And
Like if I
I
ever get
think
plugged into VR for streaming on this channel, just know I'm doing it for you guys and no one else because that would freak me out. Oh my gosh.
oh, please, everybody, like, share, comment on this video, get it to blow up, get us to like billions of subscribers, so that way we can afford to be able to shove Kevin in a headset and make him do VR horror games.
I would do it
Well, I will
too.
love
I
everybody forever for this.
I would do it too, but I would hate every second of it because like again, it's just being in the game. Like as it is, like I'll play Outlast, the Outlast Trials. I hate looking at the screen and knowing there's something chasing me, like the Nemesis system and all that fun stuff. But
Yeah,
just seeing it right in front of my eyes, like it's
But when
crazy.
you can run and then actually go
Uh,
like that and look around and like see somebody right behind you chasing you, oh,
I would
it's
need
so
to be
good.
in an open room. I couldn't be in here because I'd start swinging
Oh,
everything.
I don't know. Is the one game like is did they make yes, they did make it in VR. I know the first game that I want you to play.
Oh
I know the
no.
first game that I want you to play because it is one of my favorite indie horror games. It is Madison.
Oh.
Absolutely love that game.
If it has to do with a little
It is
kid, do not, don't
no,
even.
no. It okay, so it's a psychological horror game
Okay.
where basically you're just trying to find your way out of a haunted house. That's basically the whole game.
There's
But
more to that. There's more to. There's more to it.
but you have like a Polaroid camera that you're like carrying around to take pictures and everything. And it is oh, that one's the first horror game to freak me out in a long time because there is a part well like there are two parts. There's one in a church where like you're being chased by like a completely invisible creature.
Oh no, no,
And like
no.
then there's also a part at the very end where like you read this like children's book and it's about a character like about this like horror character named like Blue Knees and the reason why his name is that is because he was crawling around on his knees to find his eyes and his knees turned blue.
Oh my gosh.
Everything. And so like there's a whole section where you're being chased by him and you have to find his eyes.
Jeez, I'd panic. I couldn't do it.
But it's not just that you're being chased by him. It's that you're being chased by him, but he just like appears at random.
Oh,
So like you just start hearing noise whenever he's nearby, and then you have to like try and like take a picture of him like rapidly
oh.
to blind him so that you can get away.
Like whenever Game Sandwich turns into like kind of funny games where like a big like and we can afford a big studio, I'll play VR games. Put me in the VR studio and we'll do the whole bit.
We will go the whole 9 yards. We will get you a full haptic suit. Like we will get you an omnidirectional treadmill. We'll do everything.
I'll do it. I'll put it up there. Much like I said, I'll eat my shirt if what was it? The Switch puts out 8K. You're eating your shirt if it's
Yeah,
4K. So we're
yeah.
we're putting the bets down now. So come back to these videos.
And if it's 16K, then just the whole world's gonna explode.
Everybody. I just want to talk one more thing about a game like Phasmophobia. While it's not the biggest game and it's not like, crazy with graphics and everything, I think a testament to that game is one, they're updating that game almost every other month or every other week. I'm talking about like overhauls to the loadout system, overhauls to the maps, switching up the ghost types, adding in new ones, customization. That is where I think indie games are specifically thriving, where you do get these updates that add value to the game. We all know the problem with AAA games and in this case AA games where it's like we launch it, microtransactions and gotcha stuff. Like
Yep.
that's what we want out there. Indie games I feel are putting that effort forward to make the game live on way past where it's supposed to die.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I just bring it back to indie studios are way more likely to go above and beyond. Like they keep them updated, yes, and like bigger studios, they don't keep giving constant updates, especially not ones that fans request and everything. But like indie studios are still just more likely to just like bend the rules or like go above and beyond and like give you something that's like a unique experience versus something that is just cookie cutter and constant. Like you have games that are like I mentioned like Five Nights at Freddy's, like that one broke the mold. Then you also have like the Forest.
Yeah,
The Forest
oh,
was like absolutely amazing.
I love that game.
And
Sons of the
like while
Forest?
it's not like a super horror game or whatever, but like it still has a really creepy factor to it considering all the cannibals and stuff. And like there's like a lot of dark stuff. You have like Madison, which I mean that one is a pretty standard like go through a house solve puzzles and everything kind of horror game. It's kind of like Resident Evil in a sense, I guess you could say, like 7. But like it does more than what you'd expect when it comes to like a AAA studio, because AAA studios, they draw a line somewhere where they're like, oh, we're not going to go past this level of scary or something,
Yeah.
or oh, we think people will like it if there's like this one jump scare or like these two dark themes. But then you have like indie studios who like, for like Madison, who will go above and beyond and be like, okay, let's put an entire area where you're being chased by this guy with like blue knees, no eyes, and he's going to like rip your face off if he catches you. Now, good luck, kind of deal. Or like invisible enemies in a church where you have to
Yeah.
solve puzzles and everything. Like that stuff is a lot of fun.
It is, and I've seen stuff in Sons of the Forest, the sequel to The Forest. Like, it's gross. It's stuff you'll never see, like, on a bigger stage. And yeah, I agree. It's just, that's where you find this stuff. If you like the creepy stuff, if you like the really scary stuff, there are plenty of indie games out there that'll tickle your fancy, so to speak, here. And yeah, I can't recommend these games enough. I mean, we've talked about a few, but in the comments, if you guys have any horror games that you want to recommend, please let us know, because if I am motivated enough, I will stream said horror game. So yeah, just make my life worse. Just do that.
I mean, I just beg everybody to please get us to the point where I can torture Kevin with VR horror stuff.
Oh,
That's all I want.
it's gonna.
That's all I want.
It'll happen. It'll happen. Somehow, some way, the universe will just find a way to be like, not today. You're gonna do it. So when that day comes, I'll be prepared. But as of right now, do you have any closing remarks about horror games in the indie scene, AA, AAA scene?
I mean, I just say AAA studios, step up your game. I mean, really, the future of horror to me is indie titles.
Yep.
It's always going to be, since they're the ones who are more willing to do what needs to be done in order to scare people, but or like provide a good experience. But really, I mean, AAA studios, come on, start taking risks.
Mm-hmm.
Start, you know, showing some love to the community and being like, hey, here's something that's new, exciting, that we think that you'll like, instead of being like, here's another hero shooter, here's another asymmetrical horror game, here's another whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the same thing you've been playing with a different skin.
That's how it goes. But if you want to talk more about horror games, recommend a few, kind of motivate me to play more of these horror games on stream.
You want to scare the shit out of Kevin?
Yeah, exactly. Join our Discord channel. We're always talking about games and such. And keep it locked to Game Sandwich here on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff, because we're constantly churning out news pieces, articles, all that, just for you guys. But as of right now, that about does it here for this episode of The Cutting Board. I've been K-Lo, joined by Aden, and we'll see you guys next time. Ooh. If you enjoyed today's video and want more content just like this, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for all your news, rumors, and reviews. And we'll see you guys next time.